Hello everyone, I'm Jayashree. Welcome to my channel and to this tutorial for the crochet rib top with frills. I made this top with the intention of layering. You'll notice that the top is sleeveless, and I've used a warmer yarn, which was the double knitting or the light worsted yarn. I decided to go with the solid color and the two-tone yarn. Other options would be color blocking or a single color, maybe of different shades. For the measurements of the top, the shoulder to shoulder measurement is 15 inches or 38 centimeters, remembering that this is a stretchy top. The measurement at the chest or the bust is 17 inches or 43 centimeters. The length of the top is 22 inches or 56 centimeters. Let's begin. Hope you enjoy this tutorial. We'll begin with the center front panel. To do that, form a slip knot using the solid colored yarn. So it's chain 35, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue to 35 chains. Round 1, into the 4th chain from the hook, double crochet. So it's yarn over into the 4th chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. Continue working double crochets to the end of the round. I've completed round 1 working those double crochets all across. Round 2, it's chain 1 and turn. Here I'll work single crochets all across. So to work a single crochet, it's insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. So that's insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops on the hook. Continue working single crochets to the end of the round. To complete round 2, work that last single crochet into that chain 3 turning chain from the previous round. Round 3, chain 3 and turn. So the pattern sequence for round 3 is into that first post we'll work a front post double crochet. So to work a front post double crochet, it's yarn over, insert the hook into the post, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. So the next stitch is a double crochet, and to know that we're working the double crochet into the right stitch, if we turn over, we'll skip the 1 stitch, and into the next one we'll work a double crochet. So again, we'll work a front post double crochet. Here we'll skip this front post because we've already worked a double crochet at the top of the stitch, and into the next post we'll work a front post double crochet. And then it's a double crochet. So if we turn around, we'll skip that stitch, and into this next one here we'll work a double crochet. So if you look at it from the back, you've been skipping a stitch to work the double crochets, and if you look at it from the front, you've been skipping a post to work the front post double crochets. So the next one is a front post double crochet. We'll skip that post and into the next post work a front post double crochet, then it's a double crochet, so we'll skip that stitch and into the next one we'll work a double crochet. So for round 3 we're alternating between front post double crochets and double crochets. Continue alternating between the 2 stitches to the end of the round. I've completed round 3, ending with a front post double crochet and working the last double crochet into the turning chain. Round 4, chain 1 and turn. Here we'll work single crochets all across. Continue to the end of the round. I've completed round 4 working single crochets all across. I ended with a single crochet into the turning chain. Round 5, chain 3 and turn. So here again we'll alternate between front post double crochets and double crochets. Okay, so the only difference between round 5 and round 3 is that with round 3 I chained 3, turned and immediately worked that front post double crochet, and here in round 5 I'll chain 3, turn and I'll work a double crochet. So what we're doing here in this round, round 5, is in every double crochet from round 3 we'll work a front post double crochet, and into every front post double crochet from round 3 we'll work a double crochet. I started round 3 with that front post double crochet, and you can see I started round 5 with that double crochet into the stitch above that front post double crochet. Then it's a front post double crochet into that double crochet from round 3. Then it's a double crochet into the stitch above the front post double crochet. And you can see again there's a stitch that's been skipped. So it's skip a stitch, work a double crochet, skip a stitch, work a double crochet. And on the right side, it's skip the front post and work a front post into that double crochet. So the next stitch is a front post double crochet. Continue alternating between double crochets and front post double crochets. I've come to the end of round 5 with 2 stitches to go. I've worked that last front post double crochet. So into those 2 stitches, I'll work 2 double crochets. By the way, this last double crochet is worked into the turning chain. I started off round 5 with the chain 3 and a double crochet. The chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so that makes it 2 double crochets, and I've ended off round 5 with 2 double crochets. I've completed the center front panel to round 77. I've repeated round 2 and round 5. I then fastened off and cut off the excess yarn. Moving on to the front side 1. So attach yarn. Okay, turn the center front panel lengthwise and attach yarn to the top of the panel. Then secure it. Turn. We'll now work single crochets all across. So if you look at it closely, you'll find these spaces that we created from the posts of the center front panel, the stitches. So into those spaces, we'll work single crochets. Continue working single crochets to the end of the center front panel. Continue working single crochets into those spaces created by the stitches to the end of the center front panel. I've completed round 1 of the front side 1, working those single crochets all along the length of the center front panel. I've ended up with 80 single crochets, working 1 single crochet into every chain 3 space and 1 single crochet into every chain 1 space. Round 2, chain 3 and turn. Here I'll work double crochets all across. Continue to the end of the round. I've completed round 2, working those double crochets all across the length of the center front panel. Round 3, it's chain 3 and turn. Here I'll work double crochets all across, working those double crochets into the back loops only. So here's the back loop, and that's the front loop. Work those double crochets into the back loops. Continue working the double crochets into the back loops to the end of the round. I've completed round 3 of the side front 1, and I've double crocheted into that chain 3 turning chain to end. I have completed round 4 to round 7 by repeating round 3. I then counted 30 stitches from the top of the front panel and marked off the 30th stitch with a stitch marker. Continuing with round 8, I chain 3, turned and double crocheted to the stitch marker. The last stitch was worked into the one just before the stitch marked by the stitch marker. Remember, I'm also working those stitches, those double crochets, into the back loops only. Round 9, chain 3, turn, double crochet to the end, working into the back loops only. I then fastened off and cut off the excess yarn. Now that I've completed front side 1, I can move on to front side 2. That's on the other side of the center front panel. So for front side 1, we attached our yarn to the top edge of the center front panel. And for front side 2, we'll attach the yarn to the bottom edge of the center front panel. I'll explain the reason for doing that in a moment. Continue with the front side 2 panel just as was done for the front side 1 panel up until round 7. So I attached yarn to the bottom end of the center front panel. Secure the yarn with a chain 1, turn and work single crochets all across. Remember that the number of single crochets worked here must be the same as the number of single crochets worked for the front side 1. I've completed front side 2 up to round 7 just as I had done for front side 1. I then fastened off and cut off the excess yarn. Before moving on to round 8, count 30 stitches from the top end of the front panel and mark off the 30th stitch with a stitch marker, just as you had done for the front side 1. So if you look at it on either side, it's marked off with stitch markers. These become our armholes. Round 8, attach yarn to the stitch just after that stitch marker. And secure. So we're working from the stitch marker to the bottom of the front. Then it's chain 2 and continue working double crochets to the end, working those double crochets into the back loops only. I've completed round 8 working those double crochets into the back loops to the bottom of the front panel. Round 9, it's chain 3 and turn. Here I'll work double crochets all the way to that first stitch at the stitch marker, working those double crochets into the back loops only. Continue to the stitch at the stitch marker. I'm at the end of round 9, working my last double crochet into that chain 2 turning chain. Fasten off and cut off the excess yarn. So that completes the front panel. Okay, so the reason for why I began the front side 2 panel at the bottom and reattached yarn at the stitch markers is because I needed the ribbing to face the correct direction. If you look at it, it looks uniform on either side. Moving on to the back panel using the 2-toned yarn, form a slip knot. Then it's chain 52. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue to 52 chains. Round 1, into the 4th chain from the hook, double crochet. Continue working double crochets to the end of the round. I've completed round 1 working those double crochets all across. Round 2, chain 3 and turn. Here we'll work double crochets all across, working those double crochets into the back loops only. Continue to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 2 working the last double crochet into that chain 3. Continuing with round 2, chain 32. Continue to 32 chains. I've chained those 32 chains. Round 3, turn Into the 4th chain from the hook, double crochet. Continue working double crochets to the end of the chain. I've completed working the double crochets into the chain. I'll now continue working double crochets, working these double crochets into the back loops to complete round 3. I've completed round 4 to round 35 by chaining 3, turning, double crocheting, working those double crochets into the back loops only. I then counted 30 stitches from the top of the back panel and marked off the 30th stitch with a stitch marker. Again, that portion of stitches will form the armhole. Round 36, chain 3 and turn. Work double crochets, working those double crochets into the back loops only to the stitch just before the stitch marker. I've completed round 36, working that last stitch into the stitch just before the one marked by the stitch marker. Round 37, chain 3 and turn. Work double crochets, working those double crochets into the back loops only to the end of round 37. I've completed round 37 by working that last double crochet into the chain 3, turning chain. Fasten off and cut off the excess yarn. I always prefer leaving a long tail to help with the seaming. Moving on to the assembly of the body panels, I've placed the back body panel on top of the front body panel, right sides facing in. I've also aligned the stitch markers so the armholes are aligned. With the needle and thread working from the bottom of the body panels, seam up along the sides, matching up the stitches well. Or should I say aligning the stitches well. Continue to the stitch marker. I've completed the seaming up of the one side. Do the same on the other side. For the shoulder seams, I've measured 4 inches on either side. That's 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and I've marked it off with a stitch marker. I've done the same on the other side as well. Seam along the shoulders to the stitch marker using a needle and yarn. I've seamed along the shoulder, working my way from the outer edge to the stitch marker. Do the same at the other side of the shoulder. Now that we've seamed up the sides and the shoulders, we can move on to the frill. To work the frill along the length of the top, I'll be attaching yarn to the single crochet that we've worked along the center front panel. Insert your hook into the single crochet at the bottom of the top and pull through. Then it's chain 1 to secure, and then it's a chain 2. Round 1, we'll continue working double crochets into all those single crochets along the length of the center front. Continue working double crochets until you get to the shoulder of the top. I've completed round 1 working those double crochets, working from the bottom of the top to the shoulder seam. So round 2, it's chain 3 and turn. Here I'll work double crochets all across, but I'll work 2 double crochets into every stitch. Into the stitch from where the chain 3 comes out of, double crochet. Work 2 double crochets into every stitch thereafter. Continue to the end of the round. I've completed round 2 and round 3 of the frill. Round 2, I worked 2 double crochets into every stitch from the previous round, and round 3, I worked 1 double crochet per stitch from the previous round. I then fastened off and cut off the excess yarn. I've completed the frill on the opposite side of the front panel. Here I worked from the shoulder seam to the bottom of the top, whereas on the first side I worked from the bottom to the shoulder seam. To work the frill along the armhole, attach yarn to the post of the double crochet along the armhole. You can see that I'm attaching the yarn to this post that's in line with this part of the armhole. This forms the underarm. I really don't want the frill at the underarm. I'll just have the frill along the edges of the armhole. So to attach the yarn, then it's a chain secure and chain 2, and continue working double crochets all across to the other side and stopping at the double crochet in line with under the armhole. Complete the frill at the armhole just as was done for the frill at the front of the top. Working double crochets for the first round, and then it's 2 double crochets into every stitch for the second round, and a double crochet into each stitch for the third round. I've completed the frill at the sleeve, and you can see that I haven't worked the frill under the armhole. So repeat for the other armhole. Now that I've completed the frills, you can see that I've stitched the frill, the edge of the frill, to the top itself. Then that prevents it from sticking out as you see here. So to do that, attach yarn to the needle and stitch along the top. And you can take the yarn through at the underside and weave in the ends. So you can do that at all the edges. You can see I've done it at the underarm of the sleeve frill as well, where I attached the frill to the underarm. To work the collar, I've attached yarn to the center back at the neckline. Notice that I'm working from inside the neckline. So then I secured the yarn and I chained 2. Work double crochets all across the neckline. Work these double crochets as evenly as possible. You'll notice that there are no stitches to use as a guide. To complete round 1 of the collar, slip stitch into the chain 3 from the start of the round. Round 2, chain 3 and turn. Here I'll work front post double crochets alternating with back post double crochets. So to work a front post double crochet, it's yarn over, insert the hook into the post of the stitch, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. And to work a back post double crochet, it's yarn over, insert the hook into this post going from behind, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. Continue alternating between the 2 stitches to the end of the round. To end round 2 of the collar, slip stitch into the chain 3 from the start of the round. Round 3, chain 3. Again, we'll alternate between front post double crochets and back post double crochets all through the round. Continue to the end of the round. To end round 3, slip stitch into the chain 3 from the start of the round. Fasten off and cut off the excess yarn. To edge the bottom of the top, I attached yarn to the center back, chain 3 and worked a round of double crochets all across. Okay, there's no actual stitches to use as a guide when working those double crochets, so try to space those double crochets evenly across. Round 2 of the edging, it's chain 3. And here I'll work front post double crochets alternating with back post double crochets. So that's a front post and that's a back post double crochet. A front post going through the front of the post and a back post going through the back of the post. Continue alternating between the 2 stitches to the end of the round. I completed round 1 and round 2 of the border by slip stitching into the chain 3 from the start of the round. Fasten off and cut off the excess yarn. To complete the top, weave in all the ends.